So if you've looked at your Google Ads dashboard and you feel lost trying to figure out which numbers actually matter, then you're not alone. So today we're going to break down the 5 key Google Ads metrics that you need to focus on for profitability and where to spend most of your time. So hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what ones actually matter, why it matters, and how to optimize your campaigns properly. So let's get straight into it. Number 1 is click-through rate, or CTR is the acronym for this one. So this metric actually shows you the percentage of people who clicked on your ad after first seeing it. So essentially it just tells you how engaging your ad is. So why does this matter? So low CTR suggests that your ad isn't grabbing attention or isn't relevant to the audience, right? It could be one or the other. You could still have the right audience, but your ad's shit, right? Or vice versa, you could have a really amazing ad, but it's not related to the audience that you're targeting. So if people see your ad but aren't clicking, something's off in your messaging, right? So the average CTR across all industries is about 3.17%. So meaning that out of 100 people who see your ad, around 3 people actually click it. And in the e-commerce space with online shopping and retail, it's about 6% for high performers. So let's say that you run an online shoe store, right? And your ad is shown to about 1,000 people or shown 1,000 times, but only 10 people actually click on it. Then your CTR would be around 1%. Okay. And that's well below average. So you need to tweak your headlines, go through your descriptions, making sure you're adding power words, numbers, all that kind of stuff. And let's say that you changed something in your ad in this shoe store example, and you said like free shipping on all orders, 50% off or something like that. Then that could potentially boost your CTR by another 5%, bringing in more traffic to your website. So the idea is that if you do tweak this, you're bringing more conversion or sales opportunities to your website just by tweaking the ad. So the ad is so important. A lot of people don't think that the ad is that important, or they go to agencies and the agencies are fucking shit copywriters and they just they put the least amount of effort into your ads. And that's the worst thing you could possibly do. So you need to make sure that your Google Ads people, whoever's running your Google Ads, needs to be incredibly well-versed in copywriting, direct response copywriting, numbers psychology, power words, knowing your audience and the personas. Otherwise, your ads are never going to resonate. You're never going to get those high CTRs that you're dreaming of. So the idea is that log into your Google Ads dashboard, check your CTR. There's a column for it. And if it's below your industry average or the industry average across all industries, which we mentioned was 3.17%, then it's time for you to test new headlines and descriptions or adjust your targeting, right? It could be one or the other, as I said. So let's get into number 2. Number 2 is conversion rate, right? So conversion rate just means how many people take your desired action after clicking your ad, right? And it could be like making a purchase, filling out a form, signing up to a newsletter. It really just depends what your goal is for that particular campaign. Like I've got campaigns that drive people to YouTube, right? And it'd be people who are learning Google Ads or SEO. And I'm trying to make sure I can intercept those kind of people who love learning about that kind of stuff and drive them to my YouTube channel. And percentage of them subscribe. So that's amazing. It's really important with your measuring your conversion rate because clicks really mean nothing if they don't lead to an action, right? So a high CTR is really great, but it's really pointless and meaningless without conversions. So if people are just clicking and not converting, there's likely an issue with your landing page, your offer, or overall experience. So across all industries, the average conversion rate is around 4.40%, right? 4.4%, which means that for every 100 people who click your ad, about 4 or 5 people will likely convert. And to me, I see this kind of thing all the time. 4.4 sounds like a huge percentage. And if you're not hitting there, don't worry. I know that some clients do really well at 1% conversion rate, right? You just got to see what's normal for your industry and keep tweaking from there. In finance, apparently that number can go as high as 12%, and I'll link all these studies in the show notes as well. So let's imagine that you run ads for a SaaS company, like software as a service, and you're offering a free trial. Okay, so if 100 people click on your ad, but only 2 people sign up, that just means you've got a 2% conversion rate. So the idea is you need to review your landing page, make sure it's aligned with the message in your ad, run A/B tests on different elements like headlines, images, call to actions. And so you don't know what's going to work, but I recommend starting from the top and working way down. Don't go 3/4 down the page to your FAQ section or your offer and then start tweaking that, because that might not be the issue. I do recommend using stuff like Microsoft Clarity, Hotjar. We use a tool called Site Behavior to look at all this stuff to see what people are doing on the site, so we can see where we need to tweak our headlines if people aren't converting. Okay, so number 3 is cost per conversion, or CPA, which is cost per acquisition, but we use them interchangeably in Google Ads. So it tells you how much you're paying to get someone to convert for that action we spoke about with the conversions earlier. So whether or not that's making a sale, generating a lead, or any other desired action that you have. So it's really important because you need to understand the efficiency of what your spend is, for your budget. So if your CPA is higher than the revenue you're making from each conversion, you're probably losing money. But if you're in a B2B space and you've got a long sales cycle, or let's say, for example, you've spent a couple of grand and got no sales, yet your product is worth 50 grand, that you're selling for, then maybe you have to actually spend more. So it's not always a black and white comparison in that way. So the goal is to lower your CPA over time while maintaining or increasing your conversion rate. That's really the goal of Google Ads, to maintain profitability. So the average CPA can depend a lot on your industry. So for example, in legal services, it's around $73 per lead, while in the automotive or mechanic space, it's usually closer to $33. I know in the cosmetic space, it's around, $30. Dentists around $25 to $30 for a lead. So knowing your industry's average CPA can actually help you a lot with setting your expectations. So suppose you're running ads for a law firm and you're paying around $80 for each new client or lead, right? In this case, but you're only making $100 from each lead. So you're barely turning a profit. So by refining your targeting and negative keywords, you can avoid those irrelevant clicks so that you can make it more profitable, and you can bring your CPA down to like $40, giving it a way healthier profit margin. Now, in that case, if you're a lawyer, definitely the value of cases isn't going to be $100. It's going to be way, way more, in thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in some cases for injury lawyers. Check your CPA, see how it compares to the value you're getting from each lead or customer. But again, not that black and white. Make sure you look at your lifetime value. Like, it might cost you, or you might be at a loss to get that person in your kind of ecosystem as a client. And you might lose $20 on that kind of lead, but over the lifespan, you can keep upselling them or reselling to these people and then making more money from that. And you eventually make your money back in the second month, third month, fourth month, whatever that is. But a big mistake I see a lot of people doing is they're not maintaining their ads over time. So basically they think it's set and forget. But what you need to do is make sure that you're combing through it, tweaking, testing, A/B testing, trying new performance max campaigns, trying new search campaigns, tweaking your negative keyword lists all the time. Every single week you should be doing this so that you can bring that CPA low, right? And it could be as simple as testing different bidding strategies. You might test manual CPC versus maximize conversions. You don't know what's going to work unless you try. There's no actual clear answer. For some clients in different industries, in different locations, sometimes manual CPC works better than max conversions. And then most of the time, max conversions works better than manual CPC. Just test things out, right? And I'm seeing a lot of accounts aren't doing this. So make sure you're constantly testing and don't bring your ego into it just because you know that it works in one location. So number 4 is quality score. So quality score is Google's way of rating how relevant and effective your ad is. So it's based on factors like your CTR, ad relevance, and the experience people have when they land on your landing page, right? The first page that they go to. So the score ranges from 1 to 10, and the higher your quality score, the less you have to pay on clicks. You get discounts. So a better quality score can lower your cost per click and improves your ads visibility, meaning more bang for buck, right? So you can get up to 50% discounts, which is freaking awesome for search campaigns. So every point increase in quality score, you can actually lower your CPC by as much as 16 to 25%, all the way up to 50% per click. So improving your score just by a few points can result in a huge savings. And inversely, right, be careful of this, you can actually be penalized. If you have a low quality score, you actually pay more on your clicks, right? Be aware of that. There's a chart that WordStream put up, I think, that is really amazing. So go check that out, which in turn gives you that kind of stats. So let's say your ad isn't getting as many clicks as you would like, and the ones that do get clicks aren't actually converting. So this could mean that your quality score is low. Maybe it's around 4 out of 10. So by tightening the connection between your keywords you're bidding on, getting more granular with it, getting more specific, and you make sure that that's reflected in your ad copy, the words on your ad itself, and the landing page. So all three of those, making sure they're all aligned, you could actually bump your score from 4 out of 10 to 8 out of 10, which means that you could get a huge discount and better placements. So Google will not only discount your cost per clicks, but they'll also make you show up higher than other advertisers and move you up on the rankings itself on SERP, or the search engine results page. So I recommend just auditing your keywords, going through your ad copy, your landing page, and make sure they're all aligned, right? A lot of people aren't doing this in their accounts, and they're bidding on a lot of random keywords, competitor keywords. They're trying to bid on multiple services in the same ad group. And my biggest takeaway is, like, I see people who are like dentists, right? And they might be offering like implants or something like that. And so something that's related to implants might be dentures, right? And they try to cram all these different keywords into the same ad group. The idea is that even though the landing page you're sending people to is the same landing page, try to separate your ad group into different keywords based on the word itself. So if it's dent-related keywords, keep all dent-related keywords in one ad group. Even if it's related to the same as implants, separate them so that you can try to manipulate and improve your quality scores as much as possible. And then ideally, you would have a different landing page for denture-related words and then a different landing page for implants, right? And you can just really try to get that quality score as high as possible so you're getting discounts on ads so you can survive in the ads game, right? So that you can really outrank competitors, and they'll stop running ads because they think it doesn't work, when in fact it does. You just have to know how it works. So number 5 is return on ad spend. The acronym for this is ROAS. ROAS, right? So ROAS tells you how much revenue you're generating for every dollar you spend on ads. So it's a metric used mainly for e-commerce stores, but you can use it if you're a service business. If you're using something like What Converts, you can actually train the algorithm to understand how valuable a lead is to you, right? So if you made $500 from a lead, you can hop into What Converts and actually say that you made $500 from that, and that can feed back to Google Ads. So ROAS isn't just for e-commerce, it's for service businesses, and you can use it really profitably. And I do recommend that you do this, but you've got to be on top of those kind of numbers. A ROAS of 4 to 1, which is 4:1, basically a ratio, means that you're making $4 to every $1 you spend, right? So why does this matter? So if your ROAS is too low, you're not getting enough return on investment, and you'll need to tweak your strategy to maximize your profitability, right? So the industry benchmark for ROAS, it's around 4 to 1, but I've seen that a minimum ROAS is around 3 to 1. So for every dollar you spend, you should get at least $3 back, right? Otherwise, it might not be that profitable to run Google Ads. So in some industries like retail, sometimes businesses aim for 10 to 1. They need to make $10 for every $1 they spend because their margins are freaking low. They don't make enough. So they need to get the kind of high ROAS. Otherwise, it's not worth it. So aiming for high ROAS, just make sure that you've got long-term profitability and you can stay in the ads game for longer. But it takes time. You're not going to get those massive ROAS targets straight away. You've got to train the algorithm over time. And that's quite normal. So if you're not seeing ROAS targets in the first 1 to 3 months, don't worry. It does take time to train different campaigns based on your conversion goals. Okay, so say you're running ads for an online retail store and your ROAS is 2 to 1, right? It's like for every dollar you spend, you get $2 back. So that just means it's not really good ROAS. And by improving your targeting, adjusting your bids, you could raise that to 5 to 1, meaning you're now making $5 for every dollar spent. And so all those things we talked about, like going through your quality scores, going through your ads, making sure it's relevant, making sure your landing page is amazing. All these things, if you get them right, you can improve your ROAS significantly. Targeting is everything, right? So you could target the right people, then you could have a shitty ad. So you work on the ad next. And then you could have an amazing ad, the right targeting, but your landing page is shit. So these are all things, it's like a trio. You need to work on all of them, making sure they're really good so that you can improve your conversion opportunities, lower your cost per acquisition or your CPA, and then you can improve your ROAS, right? And these are the 5 metrics that matter. So a few psychological principles that can help you a little bit with your metrics above that we've mentioned is one, mere exposure effect. So the more people see your ad, the more familiar they become with your brand, and this can increase your click-through rates and conversions over time. So make sure that you're running remarketing campaigns and brand campaigns and things like that, because just reminding people that you exist is simply the effect of marketing. It's making sure that people actually see you every day. So that could actually improve things. So make sure that you're being patient with your ads, stick around for it, give it time. Number two is paradox of choice. And so offering too many options on your landing page can really overwhelm people and lower your conversions. So try to simplify your page with a single call to action that's like book a call or call us today, because according to Unbounce, they said that it improves your conversions by up to 42% if you can really simplify the fuck out of your landing page. So try that out. So let's quickly recap on the 5 metrics we learned about. There's number 1, click-through rate. So it measures how many people are actually clicking on your ad. So in order to increase the click-through rate, test new headlines, try new targeting, especially if your CTR is low or your ad's lower than the industry average. Number 2 is conversion rate. So track how many people are taking action after they actually click on your ad. So make sure that your landing page matches your ad. Number 3 is cost per conversion. So keep an eye on how much you're paying for each conversion to make sure that you're optimizing your targeting to reduce your CPA or your cost per conversion. I know that's not the same as cost per acquisition, but we use it interchangeably in Google Ads. Number 4 is quality score. So align your keywords, your ads, and landing pages to make sure that you can increase your score and get discounts on your ads. And number 5 is return on ad spend. So you need to make sure that you're generating a solid return on investment, get at least more than a 3-to-1 ratio. And then you can start shifting your budget to campaigns that are actually making more money than others. And that's a really good metric to have a look at for conversion value. So if you focus on these 5 metrics, you'll start seeing improvements in your Google Ads performance pretty quickly. And I hope that was helpful. So if you've got any comments, leave them below. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.